All right, today we're going to get into a really wild business proposal. It's from a company called Auto Media, and their idea is, well, it's audacious. They want to take all these empty office towers we're seeing and get this, turn them into giant, glowing profit machines. So let's break down how they think they can pull this off.
So the whole thing really boils down to this one question they pose, and it's a real head-scratcher. It sounds kind of crazy, doesn't it? But according to Ati Media, their entire business model is built on the idea that the answer is a big, loud yes. So you gotta ask, how on earth could that even be possible? Okay, so here's how we're gonna break this down. First, we'll look at the problem they say they're solving. Then we'll dive into their pretty high-tech solution. After that, we'll get into the jaw-dropping numbers they're throwing around. Then we'll see who actually wins in this scenario. And finally, we'll look at the actual investment pitch they're making.
All right, first things first. The whole foundation of this proposal is what they're calling the empty tower crisis. See, Audi Media isn't just trying to sell you a fancy piece of tech. They're framing this as a solution to a huge unfolding problem for cities and real estate everywhere.
So here's the core problem they're zeroing in on. The proposal claims that, pretty soon, office towers in big cities are going to be less than 30% full. I mean, think about that. For anyone who owns one of those buildings, that's a complete disaster. And that's exactly the crisis Auto Media says they have the answer for. And according to their document, this is happening for three main reasons. You've got the work-from-home trend, which, let's be honest, isn't going anywhere. Then there's AI, which is starting to replace jobs that used to fill up cubicles. And finally, companies are just trying to save money. And one of the easiest ways to do that is to get rid of expensive office space. So the big question is, if the inside of a skyscraper is basically empty, where's the money? Well, OT Media's answer is simple. You forget the inside and monetize the outside. Their big idea is to turn the entire building into a massive living billboard. And the tech that makes this all possible is something they call transparent LED video walls. So just picture this. Huge, see-through digital screens that cover the entire front of a building. They can blast ads and videos to the whole city, but the really clever part is they're transparent, so you can still see out from the inside.
Now, this is a really key point they make. It's not just about the fancy screens. They frame this as a kind of one-two punch. You take this brand new tech and you combine it with what they keep calling psychological selling strategies. The goal is to create this incredibly powerful new platform for advertising and, well, for selling stuff. And of course, according to them, this platform will generate some absolutely incredible profits. Honestly, this is the part of the pitch where things just go into hyperdrive. The numbers they present are, well, they are definitely designed to make you sit up and pay attention. Okay, let's just start with this one number. For just one prime location, they use an old IBM building in Vienna as an example. They're projecting about $7.5 million in revenue in the first year alone. And that's just from signing up a little over 30 advertisers. Their actual goal is to get 4 times that number. Okay, but this next part is maybe the most shocking claim of all. Just listen to the confidence here. The document says an investor will get their money back, and then some, at least a 3x return. Not in years, not even in months, but within the first few weeks. A few weeks? That is just an absolutely extraordinary claim to make. And it doesn't stop there. This gives you a look at their long-term vision, and the growth is just exponential. For every single location, they're forecasting that the revenue will basically double every single year. You start at, say, 15 to 30 million in year 1, and by year 5, you're looking at a potential of almost $500 million from one building.
So you might be asking, how could they possibly get enough clients to hit those numbers? Well, their big selling point is price. The proposal literally says their rates are 120 times extremely lower than the competition. I mean, they compare their rate of about $17,000 a month in a city like Mumbai to what Google allegedly pays in Times Square, which is millions a month. That's a huge difference.
But the pitch argues this isn't just about Auti Media getting rich. No, they paint this picture of a system where basically everyone involved gets a piece of the pie and comes out ahead. So if you're one of those building owners with tons of empty space, here's the deal they offer you. You get a guaranteed rent of at least $200,000 a year. Plus, you get a 20% cut if you find advertisers for them. They even claim that having this cool, futuristic facade will help you rent out your remaining office space. And the biggest carrot they dangle? The ad money could eventually be more than you ever made from renting out offices. Okay, and here's where things get really, really interesting. They lay out this whole psychological solution for selling high-end real estate. It's like a 5-step super fast process. Step 1, flash short 15-second videos of luxury properties on the building. Step 2, a rich buyer sees one they like and calls the agent. Step 3, they go to the agent's office to see longer videos. And then here's the kicker. Steps 4 and 5, they often just pick one and sign the deal right there, sometimes without ever even setting foot on the property. Done in hours. And to convince real estate companies to invest, Audi Media has a pretty powerful hook. They're offering free advertising space for their own listings on every single one of these video walls anywhere in the world.
Okay, so all of this brings us to the final piece of the puzzle, the investment pitch. This is the call to action, where they lay out exactly what they're asking for and what they're promising in return.
So the investment tiers are pretty straightforward. You can get in on the ground floor with a 1% stake for $420,000, or if you've got deeper pockets, you can go for a 24% stake for $9 million.
And what do you get for that investment? Well, the projected returns are, again, just massive. Let's take that smallest 1% stake. You put in $420,000, and they project that in just 6 months, it could be worth somewhere between $4.3 and $8.6 million. Wait 2 years, and that could climb to over $34 million. The numbers are just staggering.
Now, usually when you see numbers like that, you expect to see the word risk in giant flashing letters. But this proposal makes another incredibly bold claim. It states, and this is a direct quote, that the investment is practically without any perceptible risk. I mean, that's not just confidence, that's supreme confidence. And to try and back up that no-risk claim, they offer something they call total transparency. They promise investors that they'll get daily online access to the company's joint bank account. So, in theory, you could log in every day and see every dollar coming in and every dollar going out.
So after all that, we're left with a really big question. Is this thing, as they claim, a truly unparalleled business model that nobody else can touch? Or is it a vision that's just so ambitious, with numbers that are so out of this world that it's just too good to be true? I guess that's something the market and anyone with a checkbook will have to figure out for themselves.